Every animal has a mother, but not all mothers look after their young. Those that do form one of nature's strongest bonds. A devoted mom will defend her little ones with her life, which is why it's never a good idea to get between a mother and her baby. Now you see her, now you don't. When she's not hanging out with her mom, this little lemur loves to leap.
Joscely is one of our newest additions. People have described ringtail lemurs at this age as the popcorn phase. When she first started getting off of mom and gaining some independence, she never strayed far at all. Now she's all over the exhibit. When she has gotten to this point, she would essentially pop all over the place, bounce around.
Joscely wasn't always so jumpy. She started out clinging to her mom's chest, then graduated to riding piggyback. Now, at almost 3 months, Joscely took a leap of faith and started exploring her surroundings. She spends about a third of her time on the ground, more than any other lemur species. Though she's curious about her world, she never strays far from her mom, Jushy. And this first-time mom has much to teach her daughter.
She's doing a wonderful job. We're very, very impressed with how calm she is from the outset. And it's so important for infants to learn from their mothers. Jushy's a very, as lemurs go, a very smart animal, very manipulative with her enrichment items, and Joscely watches every moment of it.
Jushy's also teaching Joscely how to be strong and independent. In the wild, female ring-tailed lemurs protect their home, get first dibs on food, and get groomed before adult males. Mothers and daughters stay together in the wild. Eventually, Joscely would either inherit her mom's ranking or have to fight her to win the role of alpha female. Even though Joscely doesn't have to worry too much about the social hierarchy here, it's still important for her to learn how to be large and in charge. She gets to practice her assertiveness skills on her dad, Frodo.
As Joscely is learning her role as a young, maturing female, she engages with her dad from time to time. Sometimes it's simply Joscely jumping on Frodo's back or off his head, and the fact that he's just being a good dad and sitting and taking it and tolerating it is the mark of a good dad for a ringtail lemur.
Dad sort of takes a back seat in family rituals. When Jushy and Joscely wrap their tails around and huddle together to create a lemur ball to fall asleep, Dad's not invited. In the wild, snuggling protects lemurs from the harsh weather. Here in captivity, Joscely and her mom huddle together to share some one-on-one time. Except for their behavior, it's hard to tell the difference between Jushy and Frodo just by looking at them. They're the same size and share many of the same features, including their signature black and gray tail, which is longer than their body. Lemurs can't hang from their tails, but those flashy appendages aren't just for show. Sometimes they're exclamation marks.
Lemurs do use their tails, but it's more for things like communication. Their emotions come through in how they use their tail. But it's also used as balance. When they're jumping, that tail helps with balance in flight, basically.
Flight safety is crucial for a bouncing baby lemur like Joscely. Falls, predators, and harsh weather kill up to half of all baby lemurs in the wild before their first birthday. Here at the zoo, Joscely's safe as can be. Luckily, ring-tailed lemurs reproduce easily in captivity, which gives this baby of an endangered species a fighting chance. She hasn't a concern in the world.
When she's not sleeping and nursing, she's just always on the go. She's a very independent little girl, and she's very playful too. And she's even started to groom with her mother and her father, which is really nice to see that reciprocating behavior. So she's just always active. You can really see the process of her growing and maturing.
With her natural curiosity and Jushy's careful guidance, Joscely will grow up to be fearless and confident, just like her mom. Like many primates, the white-cheeked gibbon is a bit of a mama's boy. But this guy holds a little tighter than most. This is Tualang. In the wild, he would be found swinging through the rainforests of Southeast Asia on his own. In captivity, Tualang's still living with his parents while practicing his moves.
They are known as the true brachiators of the jungle, and what that basically means is they do a hand-over-hand swing from branch to branch. With gibbons, they're the true acrobats. They literally will let go of one branch before they grab onto another, and they can make leaps of up to 30 feet in one swing.
Tualang was born at the zoo to parents Millie and Henry. At birth, he looked exactly like his mom, covered in oatmeal-colored fur. But now, just over a year old, Tualang resembles his dad, with black fur and those namesake white cheeks. Tualang is quite the handful. He's practically the same size as his mother, but she still carries him pretty much everywhere.
Mom carries the infant around. The infant will hold on to the fur and hold on really tight, but the infant also learns very early on that it has to hold on tight because mom always has to be on the move.
For a gibbon in captivity, Tualang isn't ready to wean himself from Millie just yet.
The bond between mother and infant is very strong, and usually the rearing of that infant is a long, extended period of time. Nursing between the infant to mom is not just important for nourishment, but it's also important for keeping that bond going. Infants will nurse for several reasons, obviously for nutrition, but they'll also nurse because of comfort. It makes them feel comfortable, it makes them feel secure. In this particular case, I think our gibbon seems to be all about motherhood, so she's probably going to let him nurse as long as he wants.
But Tualang's father, Henry, is not completely out of the picture. A little roughhousing with Dad helps Tualang's development.
During the stages of development with the infant, both parents are involved. So the infant will learn different types of behaviors from either parent. Playtime, things like that, a lot of those things actually come from Dad. The nurturing part comes from Mom. It's pretty similar to how we raise our own kids.
Tualang's family is close, but Henry and Millie don't want him hanging around forever. Like any young adult, he's going to have to move out soon because among grown-up gibbons, three's a crowd.
Gibbons are unique because they're one of the few primates that are actually monogamous. They will pick a mate for life. This becomes a very complicated structure within that pair because they have to keep that bond together. If they have an offspring, that offspring has to leave once it reaches maturity because it is considered a threat to that dynamic.
Millie and Henry serenade each other with vocal duets that can be heard a couple of blocks away and can go on for 17 minutes. Sometimes Tualang even joins in.
One of the unique things about gibbons is that usually that mated pair will form a synchronized call, and it's very unique to that pair. And the pattern and the rhythm of that vocalization lets them know who is making the call, and they recognize each other through that sound.
During this time with his parents, Tualang is learning vital skills he'll need when it's time for him to settle down with a female gibbon. Tualang has a lot of growing up to do, but he doesn't have to pack his bags just yet. He has at least 6 more years before he needs to find his own place. Until then, he's just hanging out with Mom and Dad.